Good morning and welcome to Westernacher and SAP's webinar on warehousing with SAP Extended Warehouse Management. Before we start, there's just a couple of housekeeping points just to note. So we'll be recording the webinar and we'll be sending this through to everybody that has registered and attended for today. Participants' microphones will be muted. But please do submit any questions that you have into the question window. And at the end, we will answer as many that we have time for. Any questions that we're not able to answer at the end, then we'll of course email you through. So please do feel free to send as many questions in as you have. Excellent. So Westernacher, just as a very brief introduction, Westernacher are a digital supply chain consultancy partnered with SAP. And today is a collaborative webinar with SAP. So this is very much one of our knowledge series. This isn't a sales presentation. We'll be diving deep into different topics of warehouse management that I'm sure will ring true to many of the businesses that are joining today. As I say, it's a collaborative webinar. So we have Andrea from SAP. Who will give us an overview of the industry trends. And then from Westernacher, we have Amit and Navin that between them have a huge breadth of experience in warehouse management. So as I said, please do ask those questions in the question window and we'll be sure to do our best to answer as many as we can. So we've got a lot to cover in the agenda today, so I'll keep my part quick. But as I mentioned, Andrea will take us through the trends in the warehousing industry. We'll then talk about the YEWM in terms of functionality, some of the innovations that are available in the fourth section there, and then some of those deployment options that I know there's a vast amount of questions around. So this is our base agenda for today. And I think without further ado, I will pass over to Andrea to take us through the first section.
Thank you, Tom. Good morning, good afternoon, everyone. My name is Andrea Ricciarelli. I'm part of the Center of Excellence with SAP, covering all logistics topics. And today I'm very glad here to introduce this webinar, sharing with you some thoughts about the latest trends we see in warehousing and how warehousing is evolving and becoming a central part, a key part of the logistics and order fulfillment strategy of every company. So as mentioned, we saw many let's say we see many trends in our customers, trends that are more or less impacting different industries. So these trends, first of all, we have a key major trends that is the booming of e-commerce. So e-commerce is basically impacting the warehouse operations because first of all, the increasing request coming from different customers is basically rising the customer expectation in terms of demand and in terms of order fulfillment. Think about our experience with Amazon. So we place an order, we expect to have information about when the order will be delivered. We expect to be precise information or probably something customized by our customer that is delivering the package, etc. So this is impacting very much the operations in the warehouse. Another key trend, basically coming as a consequence of the booming of the e-commerce, is the increased usage of automation in the warehousing. So the usage of automation is something that is increasing more and more in the warehousing operations. for many reasons, because in some countries there is a very high turnover of people working in the warehouse, and so the companies are investing in automation in order to support the different kind of operations. And this is another big trend we see into the warehouse. Another important point is the increased usage of technology in the warehouse, like, for example, artificial intelligence. So artificial intelligence is used more and more. Everybody's talking about artificial intelligence. So how it can be useful in warehousing operations. For example, when you are moving a massive number of SKU due to e-commerce, for example, it's important to be efficient in allocate, for example, the position of the asset, different items you have in the warehouse in the right location. So fast-moving items, for example, very close to the entrance, very close to the exit, because they are received so many times in the day, or they are picked so many times in the day, or slow-moving items that are picked or put away, let's say once a week, once a month, hidden, very hidden in the warehouse, because you don't need to have them available. So all this kind of rearrangement can be guided by the artificial intelligence. Last big trends we see is around sustainability. So basically how the warehousing operation can drive sustainability practice. Think about, for example, optimization, volume and space optimization. Find, for example, the right package for an order, for example. Why the right package? Because if you fulfill the package, you need less space on the truck. So you optimize the truck volume and you optimize the CO2 emission to deliver your order. So all these are trends we see among all the customer we have and running operations in our warehouse. So a solution for warehouse management is helping to drive the order fulfillment process. So basically to accelerate the process, to be very precise and on time for our customer. The order fulfillment as well can be accelerated, coordinating the picking, packing, and staging to deliver the shipment to our customer. Can be increased in terms of speed, for example, with the automation. You can also run different services. Think about the value-added services where you pack or you basically pack or basically personalize, you customize the specific delivery for one customer. So those value-added services are used more and more by our customer. At the same time, think again about e-commerce returns. A lot of companies are starting doing e-commerce operation, and a very efficient e-commerce has to go through returns as well. Okay, so all these kind of operations are important for customers that are approaching the warehousing operation in today's times. So SAP, of course, is offering a solution called Extended Warehouse Management that is a solution that is helping our customers to drive all the requirements in the warehousing operations. They can drive the requirements thanks to the power of the solution, thanks to the different best practices embedded in the solution you will see later on. So many customers went through a warehousing implementation, and many customers are using all the latest technology like machine learning, like automation, like different kind of operations with the same software package. And they achieved a lot of benefits, mainly in efficiency, in productivity, in speed, and in increasing basically the throughput of a facility, because every warehouse manager has in mind the key question has in mind is how I can increase the throughput of my facility. So Extended Warehouse Management can help our customer to go through all these topics and achieve all these benefits. The solution from SAP is natively integrated with different other solutions that are driving the logistics operations, like transportation management, like yard logistics. The solution comes with a native integration also with the digital manufacturing suite of SAP. So for companies that run manufacturing operations is very useful, and comes with the integration with the business technology platform, where you can leverage different kind of technologies, like, for example, robotics, like warehouse insights for analytics, that can help you to drive this efficiency. EWM, Extended Warehouse Management, is a best-of-breed solution. Best-of-breed means offers you the best practices you can find for warehousing and you can find in the market. So it is a recognized leader by Gartner, but not only by analysts like Gartner, ARC, but as well by customers that went through a selection and they say, okay, it is a best of breed. It is the best I can find on the market. So it is important, this recognition, because it's something that comes integrated but can offer you the best you can find in the market. This recognition by Gartner is already appointed to SAP since 11 years. I think it's 11 years in the row that Gartner put Extended Warehouse Management in the leader quadrants. It's very important because you select, if you go through EWM, you select the best you can find in the market. In terms of customers running the solution, we have thousands of customers, multiple thousands of customers that they use Extended Warehouse Management to run their operations. So either for a simple facility or for cross-docking facility, but as well use the solution to deploy a warehousing operation solution at group level. So we have customers, global corporations, that use Extended Warehouse Management and deploy it across many warehouses, implementing different kind of templates according to the needs. The solution is also able to cover industry-specific requirements coming from different industries. As you can see, the solution is used by different industries, is available in different languages. Here is just a selection of some names, different names belonging to different industries. Think about consumer products, retailer, industrial manufacturing, industrial machinery and components. So you have a big group of customers that are running Extended Warehouse Management for their operation. With that said, I would like to hand over to Amit for going deeper in the solution. And I thank you, and I wait for questions later on. Amit, up to you.
Thank you, Andrea. So let's look at what EWM is and what benefits it can deliver to a customer's warehouse processes. EWM is a comprehensive solution for warehouses of all sizes. I will speak more on this later. It offers a lot of flexibility out of the box and comprehensively covers most of the core warehouse processes. Now, EWM is not just a WMS solution, but it also has features of a warehouse control system where it can help to run automation in a customer's warehouse. What kind of automation? We're talking about conveyors, ASRS, cranes, and pick-by-light solutions. Hence, it is a perfect replacement for legacy WCS systems as well. Now, EWM is embedded deeply within the SAP ecosystem. So it is very closely integrated with SAP Transportation Management, that is TM, Yard Logistics, that is YL, and Advanced Planner and Optimizer, that is APO, along with other cloud services. So hence, it can seamlessly fit into a customer's end-to-end supply chain transformation plan. Now, EWM provides a seamless connection to state-of-the-art connected devices to support your inbound, outbound, and internal processes. It leverages SAP's Fiori platform to deliver mobile apps, which are device agnostic, so they can run on many different kinds of devices, including smartphones. We can also leverage SAP's BTP, Business Technology Platform services, to connect EWM with RFID scanners, printers, and smart glasses. I will speak more on this later in the presentation. EWM can interface quite seamlessly with various automation solutions like conveyors, ASRS, sorters, shuttles, and automated guided vehicles. We can leverage EWM's native material flow system for a tighter integration and control of the automation, or we could use a more lighter interface to connect it to third-party warehouse control systems to run the automation. Below, at the bottom of the slide, you can see some of the automation vendors that we commonly work with and can integrate their systems to EWM. Now, earlier I mentioned that SAP EWM can work for many different types of warehouses, including but not limited to the ones that you see on your screen right now. So for a production warehouse, it can support raw material handling, integration of quality management processes to perform quality inspections on your raw materials or your finished goods. It can support receipt of finished goods from production, and it can support the staging and consumption of raw materials. For distribution centers, which have typically very complex processes and high volume, it can help to improve and sustain high customer service levels by supporting operations through wave management, and drives operational efficiency through better storage utilization techniques like slotting and rearrangement. EWM can support a spare parts warehouse with specialized value-added processes like kitting, and has native support for serialized and batch managed products. EWM also delivers industry best practices for cross-docking and transit warehouses with strong integration to a transportation management system to manage different types of freight handling across multiple route networks. So EWM can meet the unique requirements of all major industries. And in fact, as a company, we have done projects across all these sectors. Now, across these industries, EWM can handle specialized kitting processes, catch weight requirements, dangerous goods handling, returns, invoice processing for warehouse activities, and integration with a production MES, that is a manufacturing execution system. So as you can see, there is good industry coverage, including all the ones which are mentioned on the screen, but again, not limited to these ones. Now, here we provide an overview. So this is a functionality map of what EWM can provide and what are the specific functional areas that are covered by EWM. EWM can cover the end-to-end functionality for a customer's warehouse, from inbound yard management, receiving and put away activities to outbound wave, picking, packing, and shipping activities. For inbound processing, EWM provides functionality to set up and perform quality inspections and supports a large number of put away strategies for a variety of storage areas. For outbound processing, EWM provides intelligent waving options to optimize pick, pack, and ship activities. It supports a diversity of picking strategies along with support for piece picking, case picking, and full pallet picking. EWM also has comprehensive solution coverage for internal processes like replenishments, scrapping, and inventory counts to support business audit requirements. It can improve space utilization of a warehouse through slotting of products into appropriate storage sections and drive stock rearrangement to free up space in the warehouse. It can also help the business plan and manage their labor and resource needs. In general, EWM reduces paper-based operations through robust RF-enabled processes and provides intuitive and comprehensive reporting capabilities through the warehouse monitor and the shipping cockpit. Now, it is crucial for any WMS system or for that matter, any software system to deliver continuous innovation to meet changing business requirements in a dynamic market. SAP has a strong mechanism to anticipate key future requirements, key customer requirements, and to use continuous feedback from their partner ecosystem to deliver a robust innovation roadmap. You can see a snapshot here of this roadmap for EWM for the next upcoming quarters. Now, an EWM implementation can deliver strong, measurable, and sustainable business benefits to our customers. Through an EWM implementation, businesses see improved customer service levels, process standardization benchmarked to industry best practices, reduced inventory and labor costs, better warehouse stock transparency, increased flexibility in order management, and improved space utilization. Typically, we see around 48% lower customer order cycle time with 6% more orders shipped on time, all the while improving labor allocation and reducing operational expenses. Now, as a company, we continue to expand our customer base in the UK and globally for EWM. In particular, I would like to highlight the success of one of our customers, Britwick, who went live with EWM at several of the UK and Ireland-based warehouses. The goal of the project was to provide an end-to-end supply chain visibility and accurate stock levels to be able to handle raw materials, finished goods, and production supply inventories in each warehouse. We were able to deliver increased labor productivity, greater stock accuracy and visibility, reduced downtimes, and more seamless order management. It was a complete transformation of all their business processes, which helped them to hit their business targets and sustain their position as a leading soft drinks manufacturer in the UK and Ireland region. So now I'll hand over to Navin and we'll be happy to take any questions at the end.
Thanks, Amit. Thank you very much. Yeah. So when we talk about EWM, then what have we learned so far at Westernacher? That becomes important. At Westernacher, we take immense pride in our competency in SAP SCM solutions, especially EWM, being part of the very first EWM implementation globally, and then subsequently being part of every first in EWM space, so to say. One can see from the logos, of course, I mean, Andrea shared some logos in there before, and Andrea probably SAP can share maybe hundreds of logos, but these are some of the snapshots of the logos, and you can see across industries we have experience in implementing EWM. And I think Amit already shared a slide on some of the salient features which are required in a WMS in each of these industries. Yeah, so that basically shows us that EWM can and is supporting already a lot of all the industries across the globe. Okay. Now, there at Westernacher, over the years during the implementation, what we have observed is SAP has all the tools. Yeah? SAP has all the tools, the technology to deliver a successful WMS. However, sometimes you need to just speed up the implementation and compete with smaller niche WMS players. These smaller innovations that SAP probably don't invest a lot of time in that one, but then and it depends upon support partners in doing that. And it basically helps us to keep a pace with changing industry standards, right? That's why we started developing our new accelerators and innovations. And they are purely on SAP platform without using any third-party tools, okay? Needless to say, these innovations help us keep edge in the market, competitive market. There are several innovations now, several areas in which we are working on innovations. First is the IoT, Internet of Things. That's a buzzword nowadays. And in WMS space, we are using it for forklifts, checking the health of the forklifts and doing any preventive maintenance for it, right? Mobility, we have our vScan solution, which is the UI5 skin on top of SAP ITS. Again, not really doing radically different, but giving the wow feeling to the Fiori screens to the users. And these solutions can work offline. They can work on cloud as well. AR and wearables. We also have are developing continuous solutions on vision picking, with smart glasses. We have a strategic partnership with one of the hardware providers of smart glasses. Then we have PI drones, wherein you can use a drone to do physical inventory and save on percentage in counting, right? Analytics, we use SAP SSE to deliver customizable analytics in different areas in different warehouses. Okay. Collaboration platform, we have the next generation Fiori-based doc appointment scheduling tool with enhanced functionalities of doc appointment scheduling. Then we have product availability. Slotting is what we use, advanced slotting tools we have. And then robotics and automation, we are already working on warehouse controlling framework. And then I think Amit will speak more about robotics when he covers the BTP topic. So I wouldn't go into it in detail. All these assets, you can visit our website, www.westernacher.com, and you can read in detail about them. And if you have any queries, we're happy to speak about them later. Now, having learned what EWM offers, right, in terms of functionality, etc., and the innovations that Westernacher gives on top of that, what are the different options? Again, when I say options, we are not talking about pricing models here, but the deployment options. What are different deployment options of the software? Okay. So when it comes to deployment options, primarily there are 3: S4 on-premise, S4 on private cloud, and S4 on public cloud. Yeah. So let's demystify each one of them. In principle, S4 on-premise and S4 private doesn't really have anything radically different in terms of functionality, except for the fact that the total cost of ownership with S4 on private cloud is much lesser, because you're not hosting the servers, somebody else is, or you're using hyperscaler or SAP for that matter to host the servers. Yeah. Apart from hosting, there is not much difference between the ownership. But then private cloud. So let's talk about private cloud more. Private cloud can be hosted by SAP or by vendors, which could be hypercarriers like AWS or Azure or Google, to name a few. These options pretty differ from public cloud though. Yeah, so private cloud and public cloud, there is a huge functionality difference. Okay. On public cloud, so on public cloud, you're restricted for customization, right? Because SAP is hosting it for you, and there are it's a multi-tenant system, so there are not many options to customize or enhance the functionality a bit further. It's a pre-built solution that you have with restricted customization. Again, putting it blindly, the TCO is the least in this kind of option, which is the public cloud one, right? The public cloud with limited functionality, SAP is bringing in new features every release. I think Amit shared the roadmap already, and there's a distinct roadmap for cloud solutions, public cloud solution, and there is a strong roadmap for that. So although it may be, you may see that it's limited right now, but there are a lot of new functionality that SAP is bringing in. Okay, but it could be the best option for in terms of cost, speed of implementation. It's basically hassle-free. You can have bolt-on third-party solutions on public cloud, yeah, to enhance it further. Okay. Now, if we talk about S4 on-premise or S4 private cloud, let's talk about private cloud rather than on-premise. I'll be repeating private cloud more and more instead of on-premise. Amit already spoke about extensive range of functionalities it offers across industries, from very large complex warehouses to medium or small warehouses. Again, across industries, the option gives us flexibility, extensibility, autonomy that you can have in a WMS. Okay, if you go for private cloud again, you have two options now. One can be embedded, and the other is decentralized one. The choice depends on the size of the warehouse, complexities, various interfaces that you need for automation, number of transactions, autonomy in managing WMS separately. That is something you can do in decentralized and not in embedded, right? If you need to have integration to non-SAP ERP, for example, that could be one of the criteria. So if a warehouse needs to handle automation, high throughput, high performance operation, it's best to go for deployment, decentralized deployment option rather than an embedded one. Okay. It also gives you flexibility to manage and deploy and upgrade EWM independent of ERP. And it's a true decentralized. So even if for some reason ERP is down, you can still run operations temporarily on EWM to a certain extent. Of course, not to a great extent, but to a certain extent. So that's the decentralized feature. However, if you go for embedded option, when the EWM is embedded in S4 ERP system itself, they pretty much share the same data core. That means your integration and data redundancy is easier, right? There's absolutely no redundancy in data, only minimum redundancy in data. Integration is easier to set it up. The customer has now two options here with embedded. Okay. So there are two options: are basic warehouse management and advanced warehouse management. You can read these features over here. Basic warehouse management does not give you kitting or dock appointment scheduling or sorting or cartonization planning. These are required for high volume, high transaction, high volume, high speed warehouses. Those functionalities are missing in the basic warehouse management. However, there are some warehouses which already use basic warehouse management, so they may not need all these operations. And it's a bulk industry, just pallet in, pallet out. That's the kind of operation. For them, basic warehouse management is pretty much suitable. So otherwise, if you have to use advanced, any of the features in the advanced warehouse management, you have to select your select the license for advanced first. The customer has to use any feature here from this list. Okay, then they have to go for advanced license here. There's a report in EWM which you can run and check for a warehouse whether you are using any of the functionality from advanced warehouse management. So it basically helps you in compliance as well, right? Not just advising, but also compliance. If customer has to choose, however, if you go back again to the decentral option and embedded option, within embedded you had two options, basic and advanced. But if you use embedded, if you use decentralized already, for the obvious requirements, then you have pretty much paid for the advanced license. So that means all the features of advanced are already available to you. Okay. Then the migration path. Now there are many. EWM has been in the market for last since 2005, 2004. And there are so many customers who are on 7.2, 7.2, 7.2. Apart from the greenfield warehouse, there are so many customers are already on EWM. Correct, and they want to migrate to the S4 journey. They want to start migrating on the S4 HANA over the years. Now, since the functionality in EWM at that time, when they implemented EWM, was very limited, it has been improved by leaps and bounds by SAP. Okay, so most of customers are seeking to migrate to S4 HANA now with minimal downtime. This slide basically shows you the approach to migrate to EWM. This particular slide, how can you migrate it? Pretty much in 14 to 16 weeks, a pure migration can be achieved, and then thereafter subsequent warehouses. If you have many warehouses over there, you can take 3 to 4 weeks for each warehouse, and these are different phases of the migration. We have SAP has given lots of tools for migration. Especially if you're migrating to decentralized. There are not many tools available in embedded. However, that should not change the timeline of migration to embedded. If you have to migrate to embedded by more than a week, so 14 to 16 weeks for decentralized, you can add a couple more weeks for embedded, and that will be done with it. So although there is no tool like a migration cockpit not there, you can still pretty much migrate in 18 weeks to 20 weeks to an embedded system. Okay. I think I will hand over then to Amit next, and I'll be happy to take any questions afterwards.
Thank you, Navin. So let's look at what transformational opportunities does BTP, SAP's business technology platform, provide in driving efficiencies and automation in EWM. So before we talk about what transformational opportunities it provides in the EWM space, let's first understand what exactly is BTP. Now, SAP's business technology platform is a one-stop shop which delivers all of SAP's key technical services via the cloud, thereby reducing overall deployment and development costs. BTP is a software as a service platform which delivers innovation in a fast and more cost-effective manner to its customers. Now let's have a look at some of the services that can be used within BTP to drive efficiencies and automation in the EWM space. Now, firstly, starting from the left and going towards the right, let's firstly talk about gamification. So SAP BTP provides services to build gamified applications to boost labor productivity by linking day-to-day activities to a competitive and fun reward system. One scenario here could be like a picker of the week, right? So all the pickers get rewards and online, and they are rewarded. And let's say badges are rewarded to the 3 best pickers who picked the maximum number of lines with the highest pick accuracy. So that could be an example of a gamification app. BTP services for document information extraction allow users to query a large, diverse documentation system to be able to, for example, quickly find uploaded delivery documents if you wanted to search them quickly for, let's say, the last few months or the last few quarters. SAP Analytics Cloud on BTP allows creation of high-level dashboards for operational and management reporting by combining information from multiple databases. For example, some of the standard available dashboards from an EWM perspective are available to help to monitor pick accuracy and on-time delivery metrics. Then talking about SAP Warehouse Robotics. So Warehouse Robotics on BTP provides some services to integrate with warehouse robots managed by fleet management systems through a simplified plug-and-play framework. In terms of coding tools, because sometimes you might need to develop some custom functionality in your application. So BTP also hosts coding tools which allow users with little to no technical know-how to use no-code pre-built templates to design and create apps. At the same time, it also allows more experienced technical users to use pro-code tools for building more complex, enhanced applications to enable and support a customer's warehouse processes. BTP hosts Adobe Form Service, which can be used to create, print, and manage interactive forms. This can be used to build, manage, and print delivery documents and labels to support day-to-day warehouse processes. So these documents and labels could be your delivery documents, and in terms of labels, it could be labels for the pallets or the boxes and so on. And finally, BTP is also like an app store which hosts apps developed by both SAP as well as the entire partner ecosystem. This allows customers to shop around for apps of their choice, which can meet their business requirements in the best possible manner without having to make a substantial upfront investment in actually developing those apps from scratch again. So you can just go there, have a look at what's available, and that could be deployed into your business to manage the warehouse processes. So these are some of the use cases that are typical for an EWM, that are typical for a warehouse. So that's all from my side. And I think we're all open to taking your questions. Thank you very much.
Excellent. Thanks, everybody. And thank you very much for the presentations. They're very informative. We have a few questions that have come in, so I will just run through those and ask specific people on each one. So perhaps the first question can be for Andrea. So Andrea, what types of warehouse operations does SAP Extended Warehouse Management support?
Okay, thank you for the question. Yeah, okay. The solution, the software is able to support different kind of warehouse. We saw, I think, a slide before. So as a standard that can support, for example, production warehouse that has different characteristics. For example, where they handle raw material, they integrate the warehouse with the quality management, they supply production facility, they receive from production, they have staging and consumption processes, they run just in time or just in sequence integration. Okay, so this is the typical production warehouse. As well, the solution is used by many customers to run distribution center. So distribution center has a different characteristic. Basically, they have complex processes. They have very high volumes. We are talking about millions of lines every day. So it's really huge. Okay. They have a high degree of automation, so big volumes means high automation to speed up the operation. They manage waves, so you have a different shift, they have different waves. They are performing slotting and rearrangement, because when you have so many SKU, you have to be efficient in the position of the different SKU, and you replenish the different location. The solution is good as well as a standard to support a service parts warehouse, for example, in the automotive industry, but also in industrial machinery component or other industry, where you have a lower complexity compared to the distribution center, but where you have characteristics like kitting, value-added services. You have high volatility of the different parts. You might want to implement serial number, for example, and you have a very heterogeneous product range. But as well, customers are using EWM to support cross-docking of transit warehouses that are typically regional hubs, gateways, or container freight station. Probably linked to air transport or ocean freight transport, where the unit load are unloaded and moved and then loaded somewhere else, and where the units, the handled units are received and sent from and to airport or seaport, for example. All this kind of warehouse are all supported by one single piece of software that can be implemented, of course, in different way with different templates, but in a standard that can support these typical characteristics of each kind of operations.
Excellent, thank you very much. So a second question, this can be for either Amit or Navin, but maybe I'll direct it to Amit first. So Amit, the 16-week migration estimate, is that based on historic deployments of ours?
Yes, it's an average estimate based on the deployments we have done in the past. I think Navin can speak better to this. Navin, if you want to chime in on this one.
Yeah, indeed. Yeah, that's basically historically what we have experienced so far, and 16 weeks is pretty much for a pure migration, of course. If you want to standardize on top of that, because you're coming from legacy EWM and then you have a lot of custom code over there, and you want to go away from custom code and maybe standardize the some of the functionality, that can probably increase the timeline a little bit. I'll be honest with that. But just in terms of pure migration, it could be 16 weeks maximum. Yeah.
Yeah, and it would fluctuate dependent on that amount of custom development that you want to bring over into the new environment, right?
No, so custom development, if you want to bring over, that's fine. But if you want to go away from custom development and standardize the processes, adopt new processes in EWM, for the simple fact that, because you are having a new process now, you have to train your users again on the new process. If you're bringing over everything that you have to customized, then 16 weeks is fine.
Okay. Excellent. So another question, if you, so we were talking about centralized and decentralized, is there across multiple warehouse the possibility to have a combination of both centralized and decentralized? So that can be for Amit, perhaps?
Yeah. So yes, there is a possibility of using let's say a decentral EWM deployment for, let's say, one of your DCs, which is very complex and has a lot of automated processes. So you could use decentral EWM for that particular DC, while, let's say, all the other simpler warehouses could stay on embedded EWM. So it is absolutely possible to have that kind of hybrid model in your system landscape.
Yeah, just to add to that, I mean, now you see Amit explained about the BTP functionalities. So BTP can then help you in minimizing the developments or ISIFs, because if you're building some forms, build them centrally in BTP and let them be consumed from centralized or embedded and decentralized system. That could be one of the best use cases then for BTP, instead of having two different sets of forms or two different systems.
Excellent. And another one for Amit and Navin. So we've got two questions from you, Eric. One is very specific and is asking to see an example. So maybe we can get in touch with you after the webinar. But the second question is, to what extent can customer-specific packing requirements integrate in the picking and packing process? Yeah,
so maybe I'll say something, and then Navin can maybe add to it. So definitely, EWM has support for packing, right? So within your process, you can pick and then direct the pallets or the boxes to a packing area where they could be repacked. Now, there is a way where you could have customer specific packing requirement, which has been given in the form of let's say a comment or something. We could add it to a text, right? And actually have it displayed on one of the packing screens so that the operative can follow those specific instructions to perform the packing. So there are ways to do that.
Yeah, or in the worst case, if there are static descriptions, static because you have historically served the same customer, same material, you can statically maintain those packing instructions in the form of packaging instructions in EWM instead of having to kind of customize something like a text, etc. But if it's dynamic, then it really limits some of the things that you can do in static packaging instructions.
Excellent, thank you very much. And last question, are there any key considerations for anyone that's looking to move from WM to EWM?
I think so. The consideration is basically it's a separate set of code now. Yeah, it's not, although the hierarchy is the same, the principles are the same. There are much more advanced functionalities. And coming from WM, I know WM world because I worked in WM like 15 years back, and then there were a lot of customizations that we had to do in the RF framework itself. Yeah. Now with EWM, you probably can get rid of all of it and try to use the standard ITS framework that SAP has given, because that's customizable. There were some limitations in WM that are gotten rid of, and try to not bring all the custom code that you have developed in WM and try to look for alternatives in EWM. That will be my advice. Standard alternatives in EWM, because there are plenty of them now.
Excellent. Okay, so that's all the questions that we had today. So I would just like to wrap things up with saying thank you to everybody for joining us today on this learning journey. We hold regular supply chain knowledge series, so if you are interested to participate, then you should hopefully receive the invites, and we look forward to seeing you at the next one. We will reach out and share the recording, and of course, if there are any other deeper dive topics that anybody would like to explore with us, then we would be more than happy to do that. There are also other options around inspiration workshops that we can discuss in more detail, and we'd be happy to let you know what an agenda looks like for one of those, and how we can go about executing one if that's of interest to anybody. So without further ado, thank you very much, everybody, and we hope to see you at the next one.